Hello, I'm Colleen Gallagher, CEO at OnWrd UpWrd, and you're listening to the Association Insights podcast, where each week we interview association leaders from across the country to hear how they're trying new things, taking big risks, and delivering value for their members. We'll explore the realities of what it means to work in and with associations and bring you the insights and inspiration you need to advance your career and make big changes at your association. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Association Insights podcast. I'm your host, Keaveny Hewitt, and I'm excited to bring you another episode of our Gen Z Insights series, brought to you by Highland. This series spotlights Gen Z professionals who are shaping the future of the association world, offering fresh perspectives on the challenges and opportunities facing our industry today. In this episode, we're joined by Anastacia Barbosa-McBride from Bostrom and Taylor Barnett from the National Intramural and Recreational Sports Association. From marketing and digital trends to professional development and intergenerational dynamics, we're diving into what it means to be a Gen Z professional in the association space and what associations need to do to keep up. Anna and Taylor, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to chat with you guys today.
Thanks. Nice being here. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's start with a very basic question. I would love to hear a bit more about the associations that you both work with. So Taylor, I'll throw it over to you first.
Sure. Yeah. So I work for a nonprofit called NIRSA. We serve the campus recreation industry in and around higher education. We have just under 30 employees, so it's pretty small. We're all completely remote. We serve more than 4,500 members made up of professionals, students, colleges, universities, and companies. All of my colleagues told me that it would take about 2 years to really understand what our association does. And I'm 2.5 years in and I'm still learning every single day. We really provide a lot of continuing education, personal, professional development opportunities, lots of networking, research grants, a lot of other services as well. We try to do anything we can to support what our members say they need from us. So we change it up a lot and we offer new things almost every day, and sometimes we take things away and we sunset. So yeah, lots of stuff.
Awesome. And Anna, what about you?
So I work at Bostrom, which is an AMC. So we manage a number of associations. So the associations that Bostrom works with vary from trade organizations to individual membership-based organizations and professional societies. It's just all over the place, and it's really interesting just to see everything truly does have an association for it, which is amazing for anyone, I think, wherever they are in their career or professional development. And it's amazing to be part of a company that supports that, especially on this level.
Awesome. Yeah, we always say that at OnWrd UpWrd. We're always like, there's truly an association for everything. And as I've been doing these episodes, I really have been able to learn about so many different industries and associations, which is always super exciting. Hopping into a more Gen Z question, Anna, I'll throw this over to you first. So as Gen Z professionals working in associations, what excites you most about this space, and what do you think makes associations a unique industry to work in?
I think as being part of Gen Z and like later millennials, I'm probably a zillennial because I'm born on that cusp. We're so inundated with information from the moment that we were born. We were within this like new technology age. So I think we are aware of a lot of things, but being able to be in a space where we can support people who are truly like following their careers and their passions and just supporting things for the greater good. I think it's that mission focus too that really, I think, just inspires me and helped me feel great in the association space, and working with people who are of the same mind. Like we are all focused on helping mission-based organizations succeed and members succeed, so their industry or their goals and everything can continue to improve. So it's great to support that.
Great. I totally agree. And second everything you just said. Taylor, what about you? Anything to add to that question about what excites you most about being in the association space?
Yeah, like Anna said, we have so much access to information that really creates a bridge between older professionals and younger professionals. For me specifically, our membership at my association, they're all campus rec professionals, which means they're just living and breathing recreation. A huge component of that is well-being, and I think a lot of folks from like our younger generation, I fit into that same like elder Gen Z, right on that cusp there. We care a lot about supporting a whole person, and I think in my own personal circles we have a lot of conversations about what should we expect out of a job, and like how do expectations go back and forth. It's not always just from the job to the person, it's reciprocal. And so the professionals in my association, like they just have so much fun all the time, and I think when you see people having so much fun because they all work in recreation, it creates a sense of, oh, I can be myself at work, despite what sometimes people tell you you really have to put on a face. And when we really nail an event, you can see it in the members' eyes, and they just bring so much life to the event. So it's really great to see people enjoy something that you worked really hard on for months as an events coordinator, which is my position. It's a really unique industry that we can all connect over working for a group of people, and we experience a lot of similar challenges at the same time as associations, but there's always a special flavor to each association that you can't recreate across the board.
I love that. I know you guys have a big event coming up next week too. So you're right
Yep.
in the thick of it, getting ready. And it's always so much beforehand. And then when you finish and you're like, you got to interact with all the members and hear about how much they love the event and the connections they got from it. It's always so rewarding. And I can take a deep breath and really reflect on all the amazing work I did. And to be able to create those connections and that environment for people is so special too, especially considering how digital and virtual our world is right now. Having those in-person events where you're actually able to be around people and see that networking happening is just so special. So that's awesome.
I can just to add to seeing, I think I'm always fascinated with our events and meeting teams because seeing how much they put together and like logistically, it's crazy. I'm just in awe of everything they do. As marketing, it's rare if we go to an event, and I've been lucky enough to go to a few of my clients' events, but recently we went to one. We we actually, one of my clients that I work on is the Casting Society of America. And so casting directors, associate casting directors, and they have an annual award show. And so I was lucky enough to be on site for the LA award show. It's actually an event held on the same day, but across 3 locations. So there's a New York and London one too. So that was a lot, and it was so much fun. But to see everything just come to fruition, I remember standing in the ballroom and they were testing the screens and seeing the design, like the branding come on screen that my design team had worked so hard to put together was just like a moment that like I paused and it like really hit me that wow, like our work, just seeing it, it makes everything feel worth it. I mean, it is even just the smallest thing, like even afterwards too, there was a member who just sent a small thank you. Hey, thank you for everything you put on here a few weeks ago. I know you guys are probably busy. It was just really nice from whether it was seeing it on the big screen or just a member sending a personal thank you to the general info app box. It was so nice to be able to go to this event. You guys did a wonderful job. Thank you. That stuff means so much and keeps everything going.
Exactly. Going off that, so Anna, I know you work at an AMC, which means for some of our listeners, that means that you work with multiple associations. So you're touching a lot of different industries and areas. How does that perspective influence your view of how different associations operate and adapt?
Yeah, so of my 2 clients that I work with a majority of the time, one is a chapter-based organization and one is just membership driven, but the membership is based on if you qualify for certification. So it's not just anyone can sign up for that one. And then the membership or the chapter-based one is really, I I market on the national level. So a lot of my work is providing here's what national does, but a lot of our members are more familiar with their local chapters and their boots on the ground community. And so it's really just like learning to work with how the members are going to respond and engage with the association, with the marketing materials, and then essentially taking information from the chapter leaders or from the info at box or from surveys. Like, I'm really big on data and surveys. Like, I could send out a survey for anything, but I really want to hear what people are experiencing so that way we can communicate effectively with them. I think as being Gen Z and millennials, like, we get information thrown at us all the time, and we are so good at seeking out like what is genuine and what is false, and is this brand really reading the room? And I take that to heart when I'm marketing. Is the communications that I have to put out, am I essentially reading the room, or is this just going to frustrate or make it feel like people aren't being listened to? I really want to ensure that we're executing the goals of the association and the mission to move it forward. But at the same time, these are still membership driven organizations. We need to have that moment where we touch grass, I say, and what is everyone actually doing, and meet them where they're at so we can continue to support them and continue moving the association forward at a genuine pace.
Great. Love that. And Taylor, a similar question for you. Again, going back to that events conversation we just had, but how do you think associations should rethink learning and engagement for younger professionals?
Yeah, I really have to echo what Anna just said about starting with data, qualitative and quantitative. Like I mentioned before, I have this huge conference next week. About 50% are first time attendees. We also have about 20-ish% who are students, which tend to be younger Gen Z. Of course, there's other people mixed in with that student population. And a lot of the early career professionals are also Gen Z. We're still learning what appeals to them the most. And it's the same thing with associations. Every couple of years, you have to reevaluate what your members need today, because it's not always the same as what they needed a couple of years ago or what they'll need in a couple of years from now. So our staff, we keep really close tabs on what we're hearing from the members, and we regularly talk about that and just say, okay, this is what I heard. Is this what we think they need? Or what kind of product can we offer that's more member focused instead of just driven by output? We're providing this, we're providing that, but what does it really mean? Like, maybe we could provide less but more impactful things. So it's just so important to stay flexible when it comes to shifting gears in the industry to support your entire membership. I really don't think everything is for everybody in the nicest way possible, but different subpopulations within your membership need different things. And so diversifying your offerings, continuing to collect data from younger pros and older pros, because even the older pros, like, they can't get left behind and sometimes they need new things. But yeah, just meeting the needs of younger and older folks and somewhere in between as well. But yeah, with so much access to information and trends and everything, the younger folks, I feel like, maybe have more specific needs that maybe our voices aren't completely highlighted, because I know imposter syndrome is really a common thing amongst
Yes.
young folks. Yeah, every day,
Yeah.
every single day. And so it's hard to just speak up and say, this is what I really think we need, because maybe it seems like a really grand idea and I don't really know how I could execute it. So maybe I'm not going to tell them, because if I don't have a solution to this problem, I don't want to tell my association. But I think creating a space where you can float crazy ideas around just for funsies, and it's just a safe space to talk about it. I think if we rethink learning that way, it's a learning opportunity for us too, because we are the ones that do the work in the association. So hearing maybe a wild idea is, oh, that's not possible, but just sit with it for a minute.
Yeah, that is so true. And really being able to think about all the different people in an association and how their needs and wants and values are going to vary, and how you have to really be able to speak to each of them. Especially going to our next question, Anna, I know you're deeply engaged in marketing and AI and digital communications. So, what trends do you think associations need to pay more attention to when they are trying to reach those younger audiences and engage with those younger members?
I think when it comes to technology, first of all, just like with AI, AI is everywhere, especially no matter where you look in your everyday life. As a marketing person, no matter the industry, you log on and every single platform has some AI built into it. You're getting AI is being added to XYZ and it feels overwhelming. So first I would say educate yourself on what AI can do for you, what you think it can do for you, how you think you're like let your work life could be improved from it. But then also don't work with what you have because AI is truly everywhere too. Like work with what you have. I don't People don't need to be buying a million AI licenses. That's like my first tip there. I see people left and right buying AI licenses to things, and ChatGPT is literally open AI. It is open for general information. Okay, so that is my mini AI rant. I think when it comes to reaching younger audiences, Gen Z wants like immediacy, transparency, and actual genuine interaction. So we want to know, I want to know that I'm being heard, that I'm being listened to, and that not just that I'm being listened to, but that what I say is being taken into consideration. And our members want that as well. When you're in an association, especially one that's been around for a while, when you're working with association members and volunteers, there are people who have been with this association for years and years. So they have that career history and backing that maybe gives them a bit more of an elevated voice. And I feel like sometimes Gen Z feels intimidated by that and might not want to speak up or feel like if I speak up, I'm not going to be valued. So I guess taking that perspective and applying it and saying, we are going to listen to you, whether you're tweeting at us, whether you're tagging us in things, whether you're replying to our survey, or even just how you interact with our marketing and how you interact with our association. What are we doing that you're not engaging with us that we could do to improve that you feel like would serve you? Gen Z is very much like if it's not serving us, we're not going to keep carrying it around. We're going to just drop it and just leave. Like we don't have time to carry that baggage with us. So in order to keep like membership and engagement around, we have to start seeing those trends before they happen and really meet these members where they're at. At the same time, associations, we are nonprofits. We don't have all the money in the world to execute all these initiatives to keep everyone involved. So what can we do with our resources and our teams to make sure the whole membership is heard, but also we're diversifying our personalization and our touch points to make sure that everything continues to grow and we keep not just growing our membership, but evolving our mission.
I love that. And Taylor, what about you? So I know you've taken on some new social media responsibilities in your current role. So would love to hear what's working and where do you see room for improvement on how associations can approach digital engagement?
Yeah, I work with my marketing team pretty closely, but all of my social media responsibilities are purely just optional. So I approached my marketing team and was like, hey, I have some ideas for like silly, fun little Instagram reels that I think could really appeal to some of the younger folks that I meet out and about who I know look at our Instagram. And they just gave me permission to do that, which was a lot of trust, but I've had so much fun with it. A lot of the audience on Instagram is younger. They're the people who use social media to stay up to date with friends, and you follow your association because it's easy peasy, simple. Maybe you scroll every day just for a little bit. I think that they really like to see our staff having fun as well. A lot of our members don't really actually recognize our staff because there's only a couple of us compared to how large our membership is. So a lot of times I'm out and about and I'll meet a member and they're like, hey, who do you work with? I said, oh, I'm here with NIRSA. And they said, we're all here for NIRSA. So what are you talking about? And I'm like, no, I'm NIRSA staff. Like I actually work for them. So I guess I work for you. But Yeah, we tend to stay behind the scenes and primarily highlight the members, which I think is so important to highlight the members. We're here for them and everything. Along those lines of highlighting the members, keeping a balance of lighthearted content along with business, I think is really important to keeping people engaged, because when we only post business, that's not their only place where they're getting association business from. They're getting emails, they're getting this and that and the third. They have the whole website that they can browse. Google AI will tell you anything about NIRSA if you just type in, what does NIRSA do this? So I think each platform, it's really important to have a different voice depending on how things are being engaged with. I think Instagram has really turned into a place where a lot of people have a lot of fun, and you can be really candid and conversational and capture the attention with something that's short form content and shows staff and members engaging with one another. And so a lot of times I'll ask a member when I'm at an event, because I travel pretty often. So I'll ask a member, like, hey, do you want to do a silly little Instagram reel with me? This is my idea. Here's a trend. I personally use Instagram a lot. When I can approach another Gen Zer and I'm like, hey, have you seen this trend before? Do you want to do it with me really quick? It's so fun, and we're just like laughing and connecting over something silly. And so it's when associations go through harder times, members feel it and the staff feels it. And so if we can just lighten the mood for a quick second by, I don't know, sprinting at a soccer tournament, just seeing how everyone runs and putting a fun little song over it, it's good. And it's good to see members and staff connecting, and those connections are so crucial. People are really creative nowadays, and so it's really fun to see what members suggest too. When I'm out and about, I'll tell a member if we're having a funny little brain rot conversation, just talking in like meme references or whatever. I'll say,
oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, it's a good way to connect with people. Like, you meet somewhere outside of the association just as a person over your humor, and I'll say, oh, if you find a really funny reel that you think we could recreate, just send it to the association account and I'll save it. And maybe next time I see you, we can make it, or I'll make it with someone else. And so when someone sees their idea come up on social media and it's just fun and it's not even professionally executed, it's, oh, that's real. Like, they're real people back there.
It comes back to that authenticity piece too.
Yeah.
And we've seen the same across all of our clients, like pictures, videos with members and staff always perform the best. And really, that's at the end of the day, that's what an association is about. It's people. And so when you're able to really highlight that, it is light years better in terms of engagement and reach, because you're really touching what matters to people. And that's also always so fun to do fun trends and get to play into that as well. And again, that's why we need Gen Z people on the association teams to be able to help tap into what's trending and what's going on. So that's so important.
Yeah. I am a bit jealous of, I wish I was like even coordinated enough to do a silly TikTok dance. I think I would like negatively impact membership. They're like, oh no, no thanks, kids, like today, if I were to put a dance out. But I do get like, listen, when you said changing like voices for different platforms, that's one of like my biggest pillars too, is you're going to speak to people on LinkedIn the way people on LinkedIn want to speak. Like, why are they there? They are there to advance their career or to talk about their career in some aspect. So you want to put out that information there. But at the same time, I don't know, looking at the behaviors of people on social too, what's going on and how like who your members are on these social platforms is like such a interesting thing, because I can tell you just from the various clients I've even seen at Bostrom or I've worked with before, like one client is going to have a very different profile of their like audience on Instagram versus another client, or some clients might not even feel like Instagram is the right approach for them because of who their audience is. It's really interesting, I think, to see. I get really tired of people like, oh, you work in social media, that must be easier. You work in marketing, like anyone can do marketing. I'm like, theoretically, we all think we can because we're inundated with it all the time, no matter where we go. But it's about learning who the membership is and learning who your audience is and really speaking to what they want and what they need and connecting with them on that level through social media is so important. And that's why marketing, especially with associations, is so diverse and interesting, because I don't know, I just find it so fascinating, like learning just about who these people are and what I can do to connect and learn with them, especially since these people are in like associations and professional career paths that I'm very clearly not in, but I'm learning about through them and how I can connect with them on that level. It's just a learning experience for all. I know I find that extremely fascinating through social media. You can learn so much through it.
Yeah, you can.
Agreed. I have a question that is almost the opposite, and that is, what are some outdated communication tactics that you guys think associations should leave behind? Whoever wants to have any thoughts on that?
Easy jump in. Any printed materials, like, yeah, printed materials being sent out, I think through the mail, like especially when people don't ask for them, I think it's annoying or outdated. If people opt into wanting, like if you send out a journal or a magazine or things like that, I think that's interesting. Or if you have printed books or documents that your association provides, like that makes sense. But I think sending unwarranted printed materials are just going to get buried. And I think that also stands for when you go to conferences and stuff too. Like people don't want to walk away with a million flyers and brochures and stuff. It's really comes down to how you're communicating with people digitally and personally that is more effective and also cost saving too, and eco-friendly, I believe, as well, when you're cutting out that paper aspect. I will say I don't see a lot of that happening nowadays though, but just enough that it's still kind of okay, let's rethink this.
Yeah, I took a note. The first thing that came to mind when I was thinking about this is snail mail. Who even likes snail mail? I have a
Mhm.
pile of mail as tall as Everest, like just over there. And I only go through it every couple months just to tear it up and throw it away when I'm in a bad mood or something. And I cannot picture that that is really an effective form of communication. I don't even know if anybody does do snail mail anymore, but in case you are, just rethink that. I don't love a super long email. I think a lot of people in my association, our staff members, we have so much information to share with people at any given moment, but we always talk about this email cannot be this long. Like we need to send maybe different emails. We can't send too many. It is such a delicate balance, but any email that is so long is going to lose you. Like I have a ton of like kids and younger folks in my family, and so the teenagers are always like, so often if I get an email, I'll just copy paste it into ChatGPT and ask it to summarize it for me. So if people are doing that, like you need to just provide a general summary to begin with, cut the middleman of ChatGPT. But yeah, there's that. And then a really long scripted video. I think people are so much more comfortable with candid conversational types of videos
Mhm.
nowadays. I think that's like the majority of content that's being put out. If you look at, I mean, there's a ton of iPad kids and YouTube users who like you just sit down and you put on a video, and they're always just conversational. And so a scripted video can just seem like a lecture. So I think
I
those.
have to touch back to the long email thing. That is the story of my life. That
Yeah.
is just all I do. And like, I will, we're about to say there's some information that just has to be in one long email. If it's like a specific calls for research or calls for information, like that stuff, it's just going to be a long email. But it's also targeted at people who are going to read and find what they need within there. But I guess going along with long emails and consistent one-off emails. I am the biggest proponent of a newsletter and a digest. Let's get that together in one rollout and get it out to people, because people are feeling email fatigue like crazy. Higher Logic just put out their 2024 marketing report, and open rates have dropped, and so have click-through rates. And so we really need to watch how often we're communicating with our members, because everyone's getting information from everywhere all day. We're not the only people communicating with our members outside of their jobs. So making sure things stand out and are effective. And I think that goes back to using social media too. Do we just want to put information in front of people? Let's get something engaging on social. Let's get something engaging on our website. Let's make a good landing page, keep this email brief, and see who clicks through to see this information. I think that's extremely important, and something that, as much as I feel like I want to promote, we also have to make sure we give enough support for boards to say, this is why we're shifting this strategy. This is what the data is telling us. This is what the industry is telling us that we have to do based on this data, and making sure that the board sees this effectively and can agree and let us execute this effectively too, I think is something that we have to take into consideration as well. That I want to move fast, but there's so many, just I think in any job, on any corporate level too, it has to go through multiple checkpoints and sign-offs, but making sure you have that communication within your staff and team and board, that things get, that trust is there, that sometimes you can take those actions ahead of time, or that you can get things moved through at an efficient and effective rate to keep up with what the data is telling you, is extremely important. Yeah.
Yeah, when you
So
put your
true.
hands up when I mentioned a long email, that felt so validating. So thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. Hopefully the long emails are a thing of the past. I'm hoping people will start to to lessen those, because it's just so much information to go through, and people's attention spans are way shorter. And there's, again, going back to data, there's data to prove that. People will not read a long email anymore. So it really is all about being concise and being smart with your words and getting it out there, and way more likely to increase engagement that way.
Or hit it with, I'm sorry, I'm like, this feels so personal to me, but I feel like if you're going to do a long email, if you have information to get out, bullet points are your best friend. Using bolding main points or words, because people are going to skim something, that's fantastic. Using headers and hierarchy and images, if you're putting paragraphs and blocks of text in your emails, that is getting closed faster than anything. You're going to get little to no click through. Utilize outline structures if you're going to send long form information. I think that is a takeaway I would give to anyone who is in association marketing or communications.
Agreed. Awesome. Kind of want to move on to intergenerational workplace dynamics, and would love to hear from each of you. What is it like being the youngest professional in the room, whether that's in a committee meeting or a leadership conversation or a conference setting? What does that feel like?
I will jump in. I think it's imposter syndrome was brought up earlier, and that is so real. It is so real, not just on an age perspective, but also when you're presenting within committee meetings or to leadership or to boards. These are people who have excelled so far in their career and their pathway and their industry, that they are at this level. So it's finding that dynamic to speak to them and be the professional and finding confidence in the professional that you are within your role. I could be standing or presenting in front of people who have every PhD and master's degree under the sun for their scientific organization, but at the end of the day, I'm standing here because I'm the marketing professional, and I have this information that I think is valid and important to what we're all here for, which is advancing the mission of the organization. And so I think it's finding that confidence within yourself, consistently reminding yourself that you were here for a reason. You were hired for a reason. You were trusted to present and trusted to give this information for a reason. People do believe in you and do trust you. I think that's what's important, to take that step back. And it's hard, and it's something you deal with regularly. For every meeting, sometimes I feel you could just you can be confident in one, and the next one you're like, why am I here? But yeah, I think that's what's really important, I guess, being the youngest or one of the younger voices in the room.
Yeah, we just hired another person, so I'm not sure if I'm still the youngest person at my association. I have not asked her age, but for a while, for the last 2.5 years, I have been the youngest staff member in my association. And so sometimes I feel like a little bit of a pressure put on myself, not by anyone else, to represent my generation pretty well. I can absolutely agree that imposter syndrome just goes wild sometimes. Like sometimes I just wonder if I was a personality hire, because I know I can make people laugh, but sometimes I'm like, am I really at a good spot to be leading this committee or be leading this event or whatever the case may be. I am very fortunate to have coworkers that really genuinely do value what I bring to the table, and they put a lot of trust in my decision making and my capability. And I feel very fortunate to have this like open communication with them when I am feeling like, do you really think I'm in a good place to do this, or can I ask all these millions of questions to just feel a little bit better about moving forward with this? I will do the hard thing, but please help me by answering these questions. And they're always really open to it. So I absolutely know that my coworkers believe in me, but sometimes some of the members will skirt around me to ask my higher up a question that I'm really like the responsible party for, in a sense. And usually they'll just like really support me by sending it back. They're like, hey, please ask Taylor this. She's got the answer for you, or Taylor's got this. And so having a really supportive team is so crucial to just letting the imposter syndrome sit to the side and feeling a little bit more confident about myself. History can be like a broken record sometimes, and so every single generation thinks that the younger upcoming generation is like helpless, or oh, I'm very concerned for them, they don't know what they're doing, like they have no attention span, like they always want their hand held. And I get it, everyone wants to see people go through the same kind of gauntlet that they went through to really prove themselves. It's just the same coming of age story, and so I think if we can remember that, like meet in the middle somewhere and connect on that same idea, because it happens time and time again. Every older generation thinks that the younger generation needs to go through the same thing as them. And so just really politely say, hey, did you ever feel this way? Maybe we're a little bit more similar than you actually think. Yeah, so neutralizing how much of an outsider you are by finding a source of connection. And sometimes I think it's really subconscious that people will make you feel that way, or people will say something that can make you feel that way. So yeah, luckily, because of all of our access to social media and other people across the world, I think we've learned at a younger age, or we've been at least exposed to at a younger age, how to regulate ourselves emotionally and connect with people from so many different backgrounds. Whereas older generations, like they were really confined to these small communities that they were growing up in, their classroom, their neighborhood, the city that they were living in. But now we can connect with someone all the way across the world and learn those different perspectives. I think tapping into those resources can help you as the youngest person in the room. Yeah.
I love that. Totally agree and relate to both of you in terms of imposter syndrome and being like, oh my gosh, why are people coming to me with questions? I'm a baby. No one should trust me. Totally understand how that feels. But it's all about being confident and also realizing as Gen Z professionals, we do have something to bring to the table and we do have a really unique perspective, and people should be listening to Gen Z professionals and not skipping over us to get to the manager or the boss. No, I have a role, like I was hired to do this. I'm here to provide my expertise and perspective. So
Yeah.
totally echo everything you both said.
And again, just like what you said, and Taylor, you're saying a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, like it's really reminding me. Like I think one thing that you mentioned, how people have perceptions about Gen Z, and it's just it repeats over and over again. I really liked how you said people want everyone to, like the previous generation wants the younger generation to go through the same gauntlet they did, but it's taking into perspective like what you personally went through because you didn't have access to whatever technology or resources were available just because of the circumstances of the time. Like I was lucky enough, and I'm very thankful that social media wasn't super big until after I left high school. I remember my very first Instagram picture is like of like my senior prom shoes or something. So I did not have that up, but there's people who I guess what I wanted to do is like, we don't take into account like what is advancing our generation and why generations struggled the reason the way they did. And at the end of the day, the reason people think Gen Z is like maybe lazy or doesn't want to work, which was just said about millennials too. It's not that. It's like they don't want to work the way you did with a pen and paper and a Rolodex and like all these like file folders that you would take everywhere, like all those things, instead by using a computer that like eases your work, or now using the internet or AI and how that like eases your workflow. That doesn't mean we don't want to work. It just means that we work in like a different fashion and with different tools. And we, at the end of the day, like we all crave flexibility, clarity, and feedback. And I think it's just the way that we go about it and the way that we ask for that or approach wanting that is, I think that's consistent through all generations. We've been formed by our society and by our technology and by our times. And so just finding the root of that's what we want. And this is how Gen Z is getting it. This is how millennials are getting it. It's how boomers and Gen X are getting it. So let's come together and focus on the mission, the core of everything that we're doing, instead of the differences that are dividing us.
Yeah. Going off of that, here's a question for both of you. What are some ways associations can better connect with Gen Z members and employees?
Kind of like to restate what I said before, looking for points of connection instead of differences. When I was in college, I studied psychology as a minor, and I think that something that really stood out to me throughout my studies was that we are more similar than we are different, but it is much easier to recognize differences. Like, we are so prone to othering people, and it really goes against a lot of what associations try to do, which is connect people. And it's just a really human thing, so you can't really beat yourself up over that too hard. But you should try to just be more intentional about seeing similarities, or like identifying the things about someone who's different than you that you might be inspired by. I had an interaction with a colleague who we're on very good terms, but there was a meeting that was happening. We were trying to change one of our event softwares, and I had just traveled back from an event. I was coming home on a Sunday late at night, like 9 p.m. or something, and we had this demo meeting the next day. And she said, "Can you come to this?" I said, "Unfortunately, I won't be able to make that. It's really early in the morning, and I really do need some sleep. I won't be able to like function, and I won't be a valuable contributor to the meeting if I don't get enough sleep." And later, a couple weeks afterwards, she said, I found myself feeling bothered that you weren't going to come to this meeting, because when I was your age, if anyone invited me to a meeting to review a demo and offer my input, like, I would have been there so quick just to show my value as a contributor. And it was like a special thing to be invited to a meeting like this when like you're just a coordinator or whatever. And I listened to what she said, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting, because a lot of people my age, like, we all connect over this idea of like I said before, expectations going back and forth between a job. Like, I really trust my teammates to handle something when I'm not there, and they really trust me to handle something when I'm not there. And I was like, I do want recognition as a committed employee to this association, but I think that I do believe that my team sees my commitment to bringing my best self to the day as just a valuable commitment as showing up to a meeting. Do you know what I mean? I think being yourself and standing firm on that, while also meeting the expectations of the workplace, if you can demonstrate that in a way to other people where it like inspires them to seek out more balance for themselves. I think that's a good way to connect. And I felt really glad that my coworker came to me to talk to me about that, because it was two generations connecting. Like, we both had the same goal, it just presented itself differently. And so to have, maybe it could have been like a tough conversation, like I could have been like, well, why were you bothered with me about that? But instead I was like, where do we have the, I know we have like similar intentions because we're both here and we both care about the association, so like, where are we meeting in the middle on this kind of point of contention? And it ended up being really great. And I think just going through those somewhat uncomfortable situations to find a source of connection is really crucial. And you're going to come across those time and time again when you're working with people from all different generations. And so, yeah.
I love the whole like meeting in the middle, like really finding common goals. I think how associations could like maybe, I don't know, I guess what I think personally is that Gen Z, we want to contribute early. We know we have a voice, we know we have an impact. And I think associations could create pipelines, especially for leadership, not just within membership, but within their staff, but create pipelines for young professionals to like lead projects or to lead strategy or to be included in strategy and to give input. I think creating that, I don't want to say completely like rethinking hierarchy because it's too strong of a statement personally, but I think it's reevaluating how you view hierarchy or organization and opportunities to lead, and recognizing that people have strengths in different ways. Like, just because it's technically under like your leadership tier, if you know someone, especially within your team, who has a stronger fit or skill set for that, like work with them, give them that opportunity to like my skill set personally lies in project management and using digital platforms like monday.com to keep things like organized. But I know there's other members on my marketing team at Bostrom who are amazing at photography and amazing at capturing visual content, or who are amazing at like writing editorial content. And I know because of their strengths, I can go to them when it comes to, hey, I need help creating like a shot list, or I need help. How would you capture this content? Or how would you write this important piece for the website, or even to contribute to a journal? Like, taking that and letting them lead, and also giving that acknowledgement and awareness that like this, I don't know, I think it's just recognizing everyone and giving that path is really important. Inclusion is just, it's not just a seat at the table. It's really, I don't know, a say in the menu. That's what I think.
Yeah, I really like
Agreed.
what you said about giving people like actual say in what's going on and supporting the pipeline. That is something that I think is super crucial, because there's so many people. Like, the job force is so competitive now, and when you really give people actual opportunities to stand up and lead, they feel really confident about that. They can put that on their resume, they can add that to their list of skills that they have, and it supports that imposter syndrome, right? So pipeline, very crucial.
Yeah,
Exactly. This kind of perfectly transitions into our next question, which is for both of you. If you could push one major shift in how associations operate to better engage Gen Z, what would it be? I know we've mentioned inclusivity, authenticity.
to include Gen Z, I think it's really asking and, I don't know, engaging with them, not assuming what Gen Z wants. A lot of people assume what Gen Z wants based on perceptions from the media they consume, or the few people that they've possibly interacted with in their personal lives or something from that generation. But I think if you want to engage with Gen Z within your industry and within your association, take the time to connect with them. And this is where the one time I'll say, go beyond the survey. like actually when you're at an industry event, like not to be the whole like Steve Buscemi, how do you do fellow kids meme, like you don't have to go all like that, but I don't know, just taking that time to really see what Gen Z is interested in, who's coming into your industry and who's coming into your association. What are the troubles they're facing? Did you face that when you were entering this space? Do you know someone else who has? What helped you? What did you think could help you when you were facing those issues? I think that's really important. It's just taking a step back from your assumptions and also really pushing young professional committees or subcommittees or events at like meetups and stuff. I think it's really important, or mentorship opportunities are extremely important. Have people be seen and connect, because all these younger members, like all they, or potential members too, they just want to get, like advance their careers and advance the mission of the organization and the industry, just like older generations have. Like you have that same cause at heart, and really just meeting them there and just putting aside any preconceived notions that are highly exaggerated. I think that's what's going to help move things forward at the end of the day. Yeah, drop whatever you think and really have just a genuine human adult conversation like you would with anyone. I think to get to know a friend, get to know a person, that's what's going to drive everything forward.
Love that. Taylor, what about you?
Yeah, what you just said at the very end there, I think just sparked this thought in me that I've been thinking for a while. When people are networking at events, I think in the past, networking has looked a certain way. Like, network on a very professional level, and there's always been such a huge separation of like personal life and work life. And I think that with accessibility to social media, a lot of like younger folks, we want to bring our most authentic self everywhere we go. Like putting on a mask to be someone as a professional, and then you can't really act the same way when you're home with your friends. It can be a little bit exhausting depending on like your extroversion or introversion, however you say that. But yeah, so I think providing like networking opportunities amongst professionals that are valuable, impactful, and you can really be authentic to who you are. Touching back into like social media, presenting yourself as an association as real people who you can connect to and relate to, I think that's important as well. My association is going through like an organizational transformation. It's been a little bit, some parts of it are hard, some parts of it are easy, some parts of it are awkward and uncomfortable, but other parts are really exciting and inspiring because it's really geared towards collecting more data, really hearing what members have to say, and restructuring to have more room for flexibility to make change more quickly and meet the needs of a wider age range. So to to be able to change at a quicker rate and respond to needs at a quicker rate, I think is really important. And sometimes the way you are set up, whether it's like your hierarchy of leadership or whatever, it can serve as a silo, and you're not able to really respond to needs really quickly. And I think Gen Z is used to a rapid response to things, right? We're so used to a rapid response to things. Like we can get on people so hard for like, you said this yesterday, you need to redact that or take it back or apologize for this. And so that's just representative of how quickly like we can see things and feel things about them and say we are demanding a little bit more from you. And yeah, I think that is, if it's possible for your association to be able to do that, I think that can really serve you well.
Agreed. Before we hop into our just for fun lightning round questions, any other final thoughts on anything we discussed today around Gen Z or leadership, inclusivity, authenticity? Any final words or thoughts before we hop into some nostalgic questions?
What I really appreciate about working in associations and association management. And I think what kind of touches to the core here is the collaboration that exists across everyone involved in the organization, not just the volunteers, but within the staff. I appreciate everyone that I work with because you're usually just such a tightly knit group of, when it comes to staff specifically, of people who are like seeing the constant change of the organization when it comes to new board members and new membership waves, and you're the constant. And so making sure that you have a team that trusts you, you trust them, like you blend really well, and you are all working for the common mission of the organization. I think in finding that, the way I found that specifically is just kind of, I really spend time just getting to know my coworkers. Sometimes we'll do these like virtual, just like chat sessions, or it's like virtual remote work sessions where we'll just be on Teams and we'll be working on the same client, but I'm working on an email and the other person's working on like membership applications or setting up registration for an event. And sometimes we can just answer rapid questions that may have crossover at that moment. And just, but also at the same time, like I'm hearing like my coworker talk about like her move or her dog, or my coworker could be like, he's telling me about his bracket that he just had and why it just broke and why he's upset about it. Oh, at least like we got this project done together. I don't know. It's really connecting with the right people and feeling human and feeling connected that makes, not everything's 100%, like the mission isn't 100% of all our conversations. It's our connection to each other that really keeps us together and want to actually continue to work together to drive the association forward. I'm excited to work with my coworker on our GAB sessions or see him on a meeting. And because we're excited to see each other, we're going to get positive work done. I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I mean? We are just like that positive environment, that teamwork is there, and it just makes it so much better. And that's what I think we seek, especially in the more spread out technology age too, where we're all like probably going more remote and sticking more remote and wanting that genuine interaction with people and stuff. So yeah, I could ramble on about that, but I'll check.
Yeah, your closing thoughts are really similar to mine as well. Like, I think take younger professionals seriously. Don't wait for them to prove themselves so hard to you. Give Gen Zers grace to make mistakes. That's how we've all learned. That's how you learn. That's how the next people are going to learn. And if you can use the lens of a Gen Zer is coachable instead of they're just green and inexperienced and I'm going to have to, like, don't make it feel so taxing that you're going to have to handle mistakes, because people still make mistakes no matter how experienced they are. So if you look at them as more coachable, you really do give them a better chance of excelling and supporting their self-efficacy. And you also give yourself a little bit of a better chance of being someone that they come to and feel more inclined to do better work for. It really comes down to giving people a reason to love their jobs. Turnover really sucks. It's hard on anybody in any industry at all. And I do believe that it's completely possible to give someone a job that they love and take seriously. And it really does start with leadership. We also have like fun little chat breaks or coffee breaks where we just hop on for 15, 20, 30 minutes and we just chat and connect with one another. And it helps us understand, especially in a remote environment, it helps us understand each other's like communication styles. We talk so often about like how do Gen Zers send messages and how do older people send messages. There's this person from an older generation on my team. She always does a dot after everything. And we're always like, oh my gosh, are you mad? What are you mad about? Why are you sending us a dot? And I hardly ever use capitals when I start sending messages. Mm-hmm. And they're always like, whoa, are you whispering? And I'm like, no, it's just easy, whatever.
The period, when someone just throws in a period and you're like, are you mad at me?
Yeah.
Sentence with a period. I'm like, what's going on? This is Teams. What did I do?
I'm like, can we hop on a call? I really need to gauge your tone right now.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Amen. All for jumping on calls. Please just call me. I would rather hear your voice and see your body language than get like a text message from you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
or we send gifts to each other a lot of times. I'm like,
Oh
okay,
my
that's
gosh.
a good in between.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. You guys have been amazing. And now we get to jump into some fun, just for fun questions. Circling fully what we discussed about getting to know each other and really being authentic. So really fits perfectly. First question for both of you is, what was your favorite TV show growing up? Taylor, if you want to kick it off.
Yeah, I just always had SpongeBob in the background, and sometimes I still put it on just for a little nostalgia flashback. But then when I was a little bit older, I loved Pretty Little Liars, like the drama, the tea. It was crazy. We could talk about it at school. It was awesome.
As a kid, and I guess anyone who knows me knows that I love like Jim Henson stuff, but specifically Sesame Street, Bear in the Big Blue House was
I
I
love
love,
that show.
and oh my gosh, like my husband got me a video of Bear from Cameo for my birthday, and there's a video of me just like sobbing as a 30-year-old woman, just like to Bear, like singing happy birthday to me. Yeah, it's like I love, but as I got older, I don't know, I truly loved Parks and Rec is my go-to. Like end of day go-to. I am Leslie Knope chaos, but with a binder. Like that is me, organized chaos. Yes.
All amazing show recommendations and very nostalgic as well. Next question, what is a nostalgic snack or food from your childhood that you still love? Anna, if you want to go first
Oh,
on this one.
I love a good. I like rarely see them nowadays, but they're like a Rice Krispie treat, but it's like a chocolate chunk one where there's like the bottom is coated in chocolate and there's like little chocolate chunks inside it. And it's like chocolate Rice Krispies. I don't know. I find it whenever I see it at a gas station or a 7-Eleven, I'm like grabbing like three of them and I'm like storing these for later.
Stocking up.
Though, yes, I don't know where they went, but I saved them.
That sounds good.
Let's see. I really loved, I don't know if I still love it nowadays, but the first thing that I thought of when you asked this question was like summer days with like a turkey sandwich with friends, white bread, and you put Doritos in it when you're at the pool and you're just wet
Yeah.
hands taking a bite. And then you have that like cheap little Kool-Aid drink that was in a weird plastic bottle and you had to twist the cap off, just
Mhm.
mouth blue or purple or red or whatever. Those hit. I've tried one recently and I was like, oh gosh, I hate this, but I still finish it for the month. So,
Yes.
And there's
yeah.
nothing like eating, like the memories of eating lunch and dinner at the pool as a kid, and just being like soaking wet, and like your food's getting all, your chips are getting all
Mhm.
gross.
And
So,
knowing
so
you were going to take a
nostalgic.
really good nap afterwards. Oh my gosh, those were the best. Or those sandwiches those remind me of like field trips too. When you knew your lunch was sitting with everyone else's lunch in the lunch boxes and like the bus or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
like summer pool sandwiches and lunch field trip sandwiches just hit different.
In a brown bag. Ooh.
Ooh,
Yep.
so good. If you could bring back one trend from the 2000s, early to 2010s, what would it be? Taylor, if you want to take this one first.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. There's actually nothing that I would bring back for myself, but I do love. I It was like so embarrassing wearing gauchos as a kid with like platform flip-flops. I love fashion, but I don't know what. I think I was still being dressed by someone else. I'm gonna blame my parents or something. But whatever the younger Gen Zers are doing is totally fine, and I will really enjoy it from afar. I have a 19-year-old sister who she's always like, Y2K, I love being Y2K. So watching her bring back some Y2K fashion is like super exciting, and I'll let her have that and just
Yeah.
enjoy observing that.
Joy from afar. I see kids on the bus wearing like bell-bottom pants to school. When it's wet out, I'm like, oh no, your legs are going to be soaking wet up to your calves by like third period when you get to school. I'm like, we learned. No thanks. What I would bring back, I wish I could bring back like just early Tumblr, just like or MySpace, like HTML coding your page and just like having like your song on your profile. If I could make like my Instagram page kind of like my Tumblr, code some like really cheesy like background or things like that. I don't know. I miss like Tumblr aesthetics and Tumblr stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Actually, I might bring back flip phones because I think I am a little too tied to my smartphone at the moment. So a flip phone, really cool. The T9, That feels like a special talent, knowing how to do T9.
And
Yeah, I don't know
patience.
how people were able to like. I'm a little too young to have had a flip phone, but my parents did, and they would give me their old ones, and I would just like type away on those. But I'm like, I don't know if I could do that now. I feel like it's such a small screen, and you have to be so agile.
It
Yeah.
made you think, is this really worth sending? Like, you really had to
Yes.
think that through.
Yeah.
I would miss voice memos though. I'm a big voice memos girl. I'm always just like sending everyone a podcast basically.
This is
I
perfect for you.
can't get into that.
Yes.
Yeah, can't get into that. So if you guys have tips on getting into, I feel like that like just passed me sending voice memos. I'm like, I'd rather see a paragraph than send a voice memo. Maybe it's just, I'm like, I don't know, I have bad hearing too. So I'm like, I don't want to be here like an old lady.
What is your go-to TikTok or Instagram scroll rabbit hole? What do you find yourself just watching? You're like, oh gosh, 30 minutes has passed. I've been watching these same kind of videos.
Ooh, mine easy. I love watching people just do restocks or like speed cleaning, but like ASMR style. I don't know why. I like seeing people be productive, thinking, I could do that, but then I never do. Or organizing all their stuff. Or like I getting these ones lately, maybe because like I just got like a soda stream for Christmas or something. But people who make like custom drinks, but they have colored ice cube balls and stuff like that. I'm like, that looks like fun, but also a lot of work. But I
No,
love
I
watching
love
those.
those videos. I'm always like, why am I watching this person restock their guest bathroom? But it really does, it captures my
Yeah,
attention every time. I'm like, here we are.
it's like an all pink restock, or this is how I start my day. Here's my 9 to 5 and my 5 to 9. I'm like, how? And like, they're like moms. I'm like, I just have a dog and I can't even get that stuff done. Like, what?
Yeah, I actually drank the Kool-Aid and I did get like some cute little ice cubes because I saw those like making your coffee in the morning videos and I was like, oh, I need some ice cubes like that for sure. But they take so long to restock, so I don't do it. But I love a good restock video. I am in this weird space right now where I'm getting a lot of like Creed memes and
Yes.
a lot of Deftones. I don't know, just really grungy, just silly kind of stuff like that. I also I watch a lot of like nature influencers or travel influencers. I live in the Pacific Northwest, so I have a lot of hikes accessible to me. So I always just watch those and save them, and then I'm like, I should go on that Sunday. And then I sit there scrolling, and I'm like, I could have gone like 2 hours ago, actually.
No,
That's
that's
my
so real. Being like, I could
I will
have done
say
this or made this recipe myself by now if I hadn't been watching the whole thing.
yeah,
for
lots
real.
of videos.
Oh, I could for Creed, just never go to a bar with me. If there's a touch tunes there, I will go on my phone and put 3 Creed songs in a row just for fun, just to see people's reactions. Like my friends know, they're like, they touch tunes hates to see Anna coming. Just keep me away from it.
Yeah, I love that bars have that now. It's always such a fun addition.
Yeah.
All right, final question for us today is to finish this sentence. It is, when I log off for the day, you'll probably find me ...
Probably walking my dog. I have a cute little corgi pup. He's the cutest thing in the world. Walking my dog or playing on my Switch or board games. I love board games. So those are the 3 things you'll probably catch me doing.
Love a board game night. What about you, Taylor?
Yeah, pretty similar. I will be walking my dog or heading out for an afternoon hike. I love my job. It's so flexible. I start really early so I can get off a little bit early and I'll go on a short little hike around where I live. I'm thinking now, because you mentioned playing your Switch, that a trend I would bring back from the 2000s or early 2010s is playing Skyrim. Because I just re-downloaded Skyrim, and it is just such a funny game. There's so many jokes you can make off of it. So I do that, and I just spend a lot of time with my friends. I try to really enjoy not having too achy of a body right now, because
Yeah.
I'm just living it up.
Love that. Anna and Taylor, this was amazing. You guys were so insightful and brought so many important insights into this conversation today. And another big thanks again to Highland for making this series possible, and really appreciated the time today, guys.
That's a wrap for today's episode. The Association Insights Podcast, previously known as the Association 100 Podcast, is a production of OnWrd UpWrd Marketing and Communications, where our mission is to make associations and nonprofits the go-to source in their industries through earned media and thought leadership. This podcast is an extension of our newsletter, a bi-monthly collection of best practices, top trends, helpful ideas, and smart strategies delivered straight to your inbox. Have you undertaken a big change at your association? Or do you have some words of wisdom from the trenches of association life? We want to hear from you, and so do our listeners. Drop us a note at info@onwrdupwrd.com. That's info@onwrdupwrd.com. Be sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star review, and share with your friends and colleagues. We're available anywhere podcasts are found. Come back next week for more association insights and inspiration. Thanks for tuning in.